Welcome to the CE Pro podcast. I'm Executive Editor Arlen Schweiger. When you think of stylish products in the custom industry, you might not immediately think access control, but DoorBird is helping integrators bring luxury industrial design to their customers right at their entryways to their homes. The German company, which has offices in San Francisco and Jacksonville, is also an MDU market specialist. DoorBird's Justin Clark talks to me about residential security growth, appealing to architects and builders, new solutions, and more on this week's podcast episode. As always, be sure to subscribe to CE Pro's YouTube channel and hit that like button on our videos, or subscribe to the CE Pro podcast on Apple and Spotify and leave a review. Justin Clark, Head of Sales for the U.S. East at DoorBird. Welcome to the CE Pro podcast.
Thanks, Arlen. Appreciate it.
Justin, thanks so much for being on with us. DoorBird has certainly made a name for itself in residential access control over the past several years. For those who aren't familiar with the company, can you just tell us a little bit more about your solutions portfolio?
Absolutely. So we manufacture IP video door stations and primarily focused on the high-end residential market, multi-tenant, gate, as well as security. So our product is a good combination of design as well as technology. And of course, we're all about the integrators and making sure our product works very well with many systems out there.
Right. Okay. So there are lots of integrations with third-party controls, things like that, other companies within the CI industry?
Absolutely. So Control4, RTI, Elan, I mean, the list is pretty extensive and we're still looking to grow that.
Great. Well, speaking of growth, the company, it's a German-based company, but recently opened a second U.S. location in Jacksonville, Florida, where you're based, I believe,
That's right.
to complement an office that you had originally that still is there in San Francisco on the West Coast. So what's going on there in Jacksonville? What does the new facility incorporate, and what does that mean to the company and your customers?
It means that we're about 15 minutes from the beach now. But beyond that, the whole idea for us opening an office here on the East Coast was so that we could better take care of and support our customer base out here and grow the territory. And so, for instance, that means now we can attend more events that are on the East Coast, show proper support, whether on job sites, doing more in-house training. And then additionally, it's not only sales that's out of this office, but tech support too. So now our tech support hours have expanded and we're able to, again, care for the integrators out there in the field.
Okay, and so does it complement what's going on in San Francisco? Are there similar types of support in the San Francisco office for, what is it, just kind of the western half of the United States?
Absolutely. So we kind of mirror each other, really. So again, sales, tech support out of the San Francisco office, they primarily take care of the California and West Coast region, and we're more so the East Coast region, but there's overlap. And that way too, we keep the phones ringing, keep the phones open rather, tech support open, so that we can properly take care of whatever hours our customers are working.
All right, that sounds great. Now, you had mentioned, having more of a presence now in the East, and just down the road from you in Jacksonville, in Orlando, Florida. I know that, the International Builders Show was just held in February, and DoorBird, you guys had a presence there, correct?
We did, yeah. We exhibited there. So that's technically our third show since the pandemic has started. We did ISC West last year. We did ISC East in November, and then IBS last month. And it went really well, actually. The attendance was beyond expectations, over 70,000. And there was a lot of interest in our product, especially when you talk about the aesthetics of the door station. I think sometimes we forget about how the product looks. We spend a lot of time focusing obviously on the integration options. Does it play well with others? How am I going to use it? What are its functions? But equally as important for the consumer is, what does this product look at my entrance? Is it taking away or is it adding to the overall feel and beauty of someone coming to my door? And so that was a big theme that we spoke to at the show.
Sure. So Justin, if you were in the booth quite a bit visiting, and there were several different types of attendees at that show, right? There are builders, architects, some of their customers, even maybe with some of those, VIP clientele. What were some of the common questions that were being asked? And in general, what kind of trends were they talking about when it comes to, door stations in this area of the house?
Yeah, I think one of the common requests that we received was, it had to do with customization options. Can I get this in titanium or a black color? Does this option have the ability to be connected to a gate, for my gate at my property or a gate at a customer's property? Beyond that, there was a lot of interest in our multi-tenant solution that we offer. So the ability, again, to get that on various smartphones in that community and for them all to have that access, that connectivity, that's part of what we offer. And for a multi-tenant solution, currently, there's no monthly requirement for that. So that was really a big feature and a big win at the show.
And so how were those conversations that you were having? Were they, pretty satisfied with the capabilities, the feature sets, and all of that of the various products that you guys were showing?
Absolutely. I mean, still to this point, we're following up on those conversations. The interest was pretty overwhelming. So I would say yes to that. And in fact, when you look at some of, again, the options that we're providing beyond not just the technology, but the aesthetics, what it looks like, for the architects, for the designers, for those who are, customizing the stone cladding on their customer's home and are looking for a really custom option, they don't necessarily want to put all that work into building a beautiful home or building and then start adding in, technology or rather a look that's kind of cheapening, if you will, the home. So for instance, right now we're manufacturing door stations in real bronze. We're using real burnished brass. Again, we're really focusing on that appeal, the fit and finish and the aesthetics. And there's like over 50 different RAL and titanium stainless steel colors out there for our customers.
Wow, that's a pretty nice array there. And I know just attending that show as it was co-located with the kitchen and bath industry show, design was certainly a huge element that was seen kind of all over the place there. So I would imagine that the response from those designers and the architects was, really pleased to see all the various options that you had, kind of like in line with a lot of the other companies that were, showing their wares at the two shows as well.
Absolutely. I think that's the name of the game right now. Individuals obviously have spent a ton of time in their home and they're getting creative. They're looking at different custom options to make their property unique. And we fit very well in that. So that was a cool story to tell at the show. And it was cool to get the feedback. It was cool for, the eyebrows to go up when you spoke about the different options and what they could do when you, show them the different exotic, crazy colors that we can come up with. So all in all, it's a good show and it's, still paying.
How was it? Would you say it differed a bit from the ISC shows that you did last year, just in terms of, the audience that you were speaking to?
Yeah, so I'd say for IBS, you're mostly speaking with builders and again, architects, not necessarily the one who's doing all the technology integration. So that's a huge variation. So the way you speak and the high points are going to be different. ISC West, ISC East, often the conversations are, how can I integrate this into an NVR? Or do you guys work with Control4 or some other home automation system out there? And so it's a very tech-driven or spec-driven conversation. So that would be one of the differences between the two shows.
Gotcha. So let's talk about some of that technology, Justin. What can you tell us about, some of the newest products that DoorBird has been showing and what you guys have going on, and what are some of the differentiators, from other products and other competitors on the market?
All right. So a couple of things I'll highlight for you. One is our D2101 FV, which is our fingerprint door station. So now you can actually gain entry inside, the property, the building, or the home by just using your finger. And we actually use that here in our Jacksonville office. And so, the employees come and go with just our finger. And it's great because I can schedule when that finger will work, So for a commercial setting like this, 9 to 5 gets you access. But if I try to use that finger, at 12 o'clock midnight, it's going to reject me. So that's a really cool feature that not just in the commercial space, but in the residential space too, makes a lot of sense. So that's one of the newest door stations that we have on the market. And the cool thing, Arlen, that we're doing with that is it's not living in just one door station. And what I mean by that is if you want to take that technology and integrate it or connect it with any of our door stations, you now have that option by means of our configurator. So the configurator is an awesome tool that's really starting to gain a lot of traction out here, specifically in the North American marketplace. So by means of the configurator, I can go in and customize the door station of my dreams. I can create the dimensions that I need. I can give it the finish that I need. Let's say you're working on an existing system, maybe an old 2-wire system, and you pulled that from the existing insulation, and now you need to replace it, but you have to really stick with that same footprint because it's some very expensive stone cladding or whatever the case is. You can actually go in our configurator now, create the dimensions that you want, and have that installed right there in the existing space. So that's pretty cool. On top of that, if you have a request for a combination of features, let's say you want to have a keypad, you want to have individual call buttons for like a small multi-tenant solution. Let's say you want to have a fingerprint, you can do that. Let's say you want to add on top of that an engraved name for the building or for the homeowner or an address. You can do that, and you can have it backlit too. And you can have it in a titanium finish. So that's one of the tools that we're using right now, this customization option that is really taken off, that we're really excited about.
Yeah, that's very slick. And certainly for our audience, we know that their clients are looking to, you know, be provided very personalized, very customized touches, like you said, you know, different materials. Having little slices like that, I think, could really score some big points from the integrators, I imagine. Was some of that from integrator feedback that you're delivering on those kind of things with the configurator?
Absolutely. And what it is, so we have one product out there, the D1812, and that was 100% in response to the feedback we received from the integrators in the field. Hey, I have an old Door King 1812, and I want to use DoorBird, but this is what they have right now. Can you make something that just fits into that existing housing? And we have that now. And so that's a stocked product, but the opportunity to really innovate and create custom solutions for other type of installations has come up, and that's what the configurator does. And so now we've actually started to create a catalog of existing older systems out there and what would be the exact solution or answer by means of the configurator. So yeah, to answer your question, yes.
Okay, very slick. So I imagine that the conversations are coming up a lot more for dealers these days. Certainly, home security became a huge concern during the pandemic over the past couple of years. Just really top of mind. We saw the category just boom with our coverage at CE Pro. What has demand been like so far in 2022? Are you seeing any tail off, or on the single home and multifamily side? What are you seeing? Has it kept momentum?
It has, yeah. I think right now it's almost overwhelming. And for us, for DoorBird, since the pandemic started, like immediately it's been pretty busy. And the interest there for a door station, because again, we're talking about, that front line between myself and the visitor. And unfortunately, in the world we live in, not all the visitors coming to our door, we want them to be there. So being able to have eyes and ears at the door or even at the gate is critical right now. And that is showing in the amount of business we're doing. And no, it's not tapering off. In fact, last month for us was a record-breaking month, and it's one of the slowest months of the year. So again, it's pretty busy.
Wow, that's incredible to hear. Let's talk about your dealers then and how they're finding success with the product. And you said, of course, you're going to be probably visiting with a lot more of them, being on the East Coast and seeing what they're doing, helping on job sites, things like that. So where do your dealers find success when it comes to demonstrating the products, having them in showrooms, and then how is DoorBird continuing to support them, either with sales and marketing, collateral, training, education, services like that?
Yeah. So I say for our product line and for especially the integrator market, it's very straightforward. You know, you get it online, you get it on a network, and you almost instantly have access to it. So oftentimes the key component there, and as far as, winning business, has to do with, choosing the product that makes sense for them. And so what that means is, for instance, if it's at a gate, do they need a keypad? Do we have enough fobs for a commercial setting so that everyone can have access to the property? That also means, making sure we pick that perfect finish. And so what we have, like marketing assets that we provide to our customers, are material sheets. We actually just created a really beautiful demo case that actually gives you all the different finishes, sample finishes, so you can feel the stainless steel and get an idea of the quality and weight of the product. That's key when it comes to showing this off in front of customers. But on top of all that, as was mentioned, key component for being here on the East Coast is that we get to touch and be around individuals. And of course, the pandemic has stopped us from doing a lot of that, but we're bringing that back now. Being in person, supporting their events, not only our dealers, but also our distributors, is really key. And that's how we look to grow the market.
Fantastic. So let's talk more about what you have on tap for 2022. It sounds like it's going to be busier than ever, not just busy, but busier than ever for DoorBird and for your dealers. The opportunities out there. What can you share, if anything, about the company's roadmap for 2022 in terms of any more product development that you guys have on tap, other trade shows coming up that we can anticipate seeing you there, and any other initiatives that you have going on?
Yeah, so there's a lot happening. I'd say this. Last year, we actually increased our sales team by 50%. And so that's been pretty big, and that's carrying on into this year. We'll see if we continue to grow even more with our sales team, which is very likely. With that being said, we're supporting ISC East. So we'll be there in November. You'll see us also at GSX, and then, of course, CEDIA. And we're very excited to get back to CEDIA. We didn't go last year, and we were bummed out about that. So we look forward to being there now. And one of the things that we're going to be telling, again, pushing the story, is focus on the customization options for your clients. Find out the true pain, what they need, and I'm telling you, we can make it happen. And again, the fit and finish. We think sometimes customers will spend hours picking, the perfect sconce or perfect hardware for their property. And then when it comes to the door station, they might settle. And it could be because they don't know what's out there. So again, that's one of the things that we'll be telling throughout the year at the different trade shows. Additionally, we do have a new product coming out. So while I can't give you specific dates, what I can tell you, one of the components that's coming out has been asked for quite some time, and it's a keypad. So you think about our DoorBird system, eyes and ears, and it's at the front door of the entrance. But oftentimes they want a product on a side entrance, but they don't necessarily need a whole intercom. So here comes our standalone keypad / RFID. So it can work standalone, or it can be in connection with the door station itself. This is going to solve a lot of projects and issues that customers have right now with needing that complete kind of infrastructure, that complete DoorBird system. So this is probably 2-3 years in the making, and we're really, really excited about it.
Nice. Well, we'll look forward to seeing that. And certainly you mentioned CEDIA Expo. We know that CEDIA has been doing its part to try and get more designers at that show too. So I think those customization talks and design aspects of the products will be a big hit for that show too. I know GSX, that's more of an end user show, right? So they'll be seeing all those things in action. So with that, Justin Clark from DoorBird, really appreciate your time today, showing us what's in store for this year at DoorBird. It sounds like it's a very busy and active time for the company.
It is. I appreciate your time, Marlon. Thanks.